Today is June 15, 2021. The Lawrence Board of Zoning Appeals is called to order at this time. I need a motion and a second for the approval of the minutes from March 16, 2021.
I move their approval.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, nay. Minutes stand as written. If you've not done so, please sign in at the back of the room, and anyone wishing to speak tonight, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Answer with I do. Thank you. Do we have any special requests tonight, continuance, withdrawals, or waivers?
Becky, Maria Rusumaroff, Counselor Maria Rusumaroff, emailed me earlier today, and she did ask that the board continue this to the July hearing. We had let her know that the petitioner needed it to be heard tonight, and I invited her to attend via Zoom. I don't see her on the Zoom call. I'll let you guys as a board decide what to do with that information.
Did she give a reason why to be continued till next month?
I can tell you exactly what she said. Hold on one second. She said, that all right. I apologize for making this request so late. I'm traveling, so I did not have the ability to know there was a BZA hearing tonight regarding the Incrediplex. I would like to know if I could submit a request for continuance until next month. I would appreciate the opportunity to review this request more fully. Again, I apologize for any inconvenience and for the late request. My understanding is some folks would like a little bit more time to understand the request better. Thank you for your assistance. But I did send her the link. She acknowledged that she received the link, and I don't see her on the meeting. So
The petitioner would like to hear it tonight. It's purely that she doesn't have time to look at the stuff? How could we?
I don't.
We could never operate, could we, if we did that to every counselor? Okay, no. That's my fault. We couldn't operate if we had to
Excuse me?
please every counselor and give them time.
Rick said he would speak on behalf of the council. We heard her request. I think we should hear the petition, and if there's any issues that we feel that need to be addressed, then I think we as a council, or not a council, but as a board, could make that decision. How's everybody's feeling?
As always,
Yes,
right? I mean, that's what we always do.
I think that's what our purpose is, right?
Yeah.
correct.
Yes, so.
Okay. Hello, Eugene. Okay, we will continue then.
thank you.
For new business, 21 LSV 05-6002 Sunnyside Road. Plus, we have Rick, who said he could speak on behalf, so.
Okay, perfect.
Variance of the development standard of the following section of the City of Indianapolis Consolidated Zoning Subdivision Ordinance in order to facilitate, operate, or a portion of the existing facility by a distributor of a lumber-type product. And we're voting on two separate issues, or all is it one?
It'll be one petition, but there are two issues.
Okay, the first one is the outside storage in excess of 25% of the building within 500 feet of a protected district without complete wraparound screening fence and in excess of height of fence. The second one is 12-foot tall fence in front and side yard proposed, 3 1/2 feet permitted in front yard and 10 feet permitted in the side or rear yard. Is there anybody here for the petitioner?
Can you step up to the mic?
Step up to the mic and present your case.
Need your name and your address first, please.
Tom Cooler. I'm representing 6002 Sunnyside Road facility, Incrediplex facility. And What would you like me to address?
You just present the case of why you're wanting all this and what's
okay.
going in there, just all that.
Okay, great. And I had sent some photographs in.
Exactly.
for, review if you would like to see those, as to how they operate. A company called U.S. Lumber is a wholesale lumber operation, and they work just during the week. They're there, and typically we have products sitting on that if you want to upload one of
Yep.
the photos, I've got
The first one?
the first one would be great. Thank you. So you can see some, representative of their other facilities.
Sorry, it takes a second for it to,
Okay.
there it goes.
Did you state your name and address today?
Tom Cooler.
Okay, that's right.
I'm with CBRE. I'm actually the broker representing the owners of the property. There we go. Okay. This is one of their locations, typical warehouse, and then the outside storage of product, basically repackaged, Trex material, long lumber, the trim that you would find in a Home Depot or a Lowe's, that's in there. And, when they get the orders, then they ship them to the people that come to the stores or directly, and they're going to cover, a little bit more in the state of Indiana out of this facility. So this is a very typical distribution center. That's the first one. You can scroll down a little bit, and you'll see another facility.
You want slide 2?
I'm sorry.
Did you want slide 2?
You want to scroll down on this?
Yes, slide
Do I have control of this too, or no?
No,
Okay.
two.
I know.
just me. Floating.
If you scroll down, there we go. So this is kind of what this is the material. So it's, they need room in between for the loading. So this is typically how it's stacked. So if you want to either scroll down, I don't know if there's
They're separate.
attached.
Yeah, they're separate pictures.
Okay, yeah, I think there might be another picture on that.
Okay, let's see.
There you
Yep, there is.
There we go. You can kind of see what the materials are and how they go pick them up, and, pretty cleanly stacked. So very typical of the product and the tow motor out there. So you can go to the next slide too, if you wouldn't mind. Slide 3. So yeah, this would be at the highest point, how the lumber is stored.
Oh, there it goes.
And then,
Pretty high.
yeah, it goes up to 16 feet. And that would be no closer than the east face of the building from the street. So we've provided a wrought iron looking fence up to 12 feet, and then we're going to put landscaping in front of them along Sunnyside. So it should block the view from the street.
What did you say in front of the fence? Landscaping?
Landscape, so there'll be we're thinking 3 like hardwood trees with some arborvitae in between. So as that matures, then you probably will just see the greenery. You won't even see the product. The area that's the lower area in the front and I could show you, but that would just be a loading area where the trucks would be loaded in the morning or early in the morning, and then they would be out of there by 8 o'clock. So when we get to the final picture, you can see, but this is just, these aren't even as high as some of the overhead doors. So if you want to go to the next slide.
That's slide 4.
That is for, I think it was 5. was
Yep, it's
just
loading. There it comes.
Is there anything on there?
Yeah, it's just taking a second to load.
There we go, okay. So, there we go, thank you. So next to south of the office building is where the loading area would be. So that would be stacked 10 to 12 feet, and then they're gonna put them on the trucks, and then they'll empty out. And then they'll reload again when they come back. The trucks come back typically around 3 o'clock, 3 to 4 o'clock. So that'll be kind of an empty lot until they reload it. During the day, the building's very quiet, and then they'll load again. But the loading aspect will be in the paved area behind the blue line, which is, the blue line is the more wrought iron looking aluminum fence. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna berm it a couple of feet underneath there, and you see the trees that we called out right there? Yeah, those are the trees in front of there. So it'll pretty much cover that area in front, and they'll be set further towards the street. So you'll have to look through those to even see the fenced area behind it. And we're gonna need to berm it up a couple of feet, and then there'll be 10 feet on top, but from the surface, it'll be 12 feet.
So it's going to be a rod, my understanding, what? Your 12-foot fence would go all the way down, across, over?
No.
back? Nope?
No, it'll just go, so the
blue line.
blue, see the blue where it stops about just
This light
after
blue.
Meyer Plastics fence right there? That will be the 12-foot height of fencing and berming. And then behind it's going to be 12 foot of the black vinyl chain link straight back to the tree line and stop.
Now, where's all
Tree
the,
line right there. We're just trying to keep traffic from vehicles to be able to get back there. Otherwise, it's very heavy product that, and then there's the 10-foot vinyl to the north, straight there. That will have a rolling gate, and then the line will just go to the tree line and stop.
where, in the product will all be back here
product will
stored
be-
with no fencing, no nothing around it?
Well, we've got trees and kind of a creek that wraps around the backside of it. There's, the trees are gonna be wrapped around the rest of the property. So you really, no one will see it.
Tom, come up here and point.
You gonna point that out? That'd be great.
Yeah, because I'm not sure I follow you.
Yeah,
And where the berm is and the trees are and,
great. Thank you. And I didn't bring a laser pointer, could have done that. So there'll be a rolling gate here,
Okay,
and there'll be a rolling gate right here.
okay.
This area back here, which is past the drive, this would be the ability at some point in time. The idea is to grow the facility, but right now, this is the loading area, and then this area of the east face going back and around, probably the paved area will be where they'll stack the product. Otherwise, there's going to be a drive-in door here, here, and here, and they'll just stack the product in here too, inside the building. But this will be the vinyl chain link fence back to the tree line, and then it'll just go here, and then there's a tree line back here, and this is
yeah, it's really
stuff.
dense.
So really, there's no reason to fence this. People can't walk away with the material. We're just trying to.
And where is your berm and your
So
landscaping?
the berm would be here, where the light blue is, as it comes through here. We would do a berm, it'll be gravel underneath, and then
An earth
landscaping.
berm, 2
An
foot
earth
high or
berm,
something.
2 foot, and then 10 foot of the
Hardwood
wrought iron
and
fence.
green,
Yes.
evergreens.
Correct. And so we're gonna do, and we don't have much, we talked to Mr. Meyer here, we wanna make sure that he's looking at an attractive looking fence. Most of this is just gonna be truck traffic through here. And so we're using a little bit nicer fence past his fence line. I don't know how we're gonna be able to get greenery here, other than there'll be berm. So he might see the bottom of the truck bed or something like that if you look for it. but most of it's back in this area. So it'll be a little bit of a distance back there. And I don't know how, if we own enough property here to put any greenery, but if we need to stick a tree on his property or something there, we would be open to doing that. A tree or two on that. So that's the functionality. Their offices, their main offices are here that we'll do. And then this has got, this front facility has NeuroHope in it. And the goal is to try and grow NeuroHope to keep them in this facility.
So that's a tenant, nothing
That
to
is
do
a
with
tenant,
lumber.
has nothing to do with it. They like it. I don't know if you're familiar.
What is going to be in the building itself?
I'm sorry.
What's going to be in the building itself?
A lot of what you saw outside is going to be inside too. So it'll just be stacked lumber, just like what you're seeing outside, they're doing it inside too. Because some of it needs to be, so if you go look at the finished trim in a Lowe's or Home Depot, that's what's inside, the finished trim. They need to keep it out of the weather.
So you said a bit ago that the trucks would load and be out about 8 a.m.
Yeah, 6:30 to 8, they're,
and then they would be resupplying the product around 3. Is that correct?
so they come back in around 3. So the transportation into the facility 5 days a week, but 3 to 5, they'll be returning with their trucks. So then at night, up
And then
until-
the trucks stay there until they leave again in the morning?
Yeah, so they're staging during the day, they're staging here to reload the trucks for the next day delivery.
How many trucks?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, they do, I have the answer to that. So they have, their standard hours of operation are 6:30 to 5 a.m., 5 p.m., 5 days a week. Truck loading is until 10 p.m., and there are, I have one other location for the truck count. Okay. There we go. All right, the trucks, there's 8 to 10 trucks per day that come in with product. There'll be 50 will call pickups per week, so that's about 10 trucks a day. that
Will
come
call,
in,
what is
and
it?
they're typically smaller box trucks or a pickup truck, and they'll be taking them. If a contractor comes to Lowe's or Home Depot and they got to come get their order, they'll send someone over to pick it up. So it's about 10 trucks a day, and so anyway.
And you said, okay, they're open from 6 a.m. to 5, but they load till 10 o'clock
Till 10 o'clock.
at night?
Yes, they'll come and stage it out on the property or within the warehouse itself. They'll be there.
And then the trucks are there on property until the next day?
Yeah, the trucks are in that front loading area, loaded up and secured behind the fences. Correct.
So your trucks come in, and at 5 o'clock, they're done, but your workers inside are still
Still
moving
loading.
things around and getting things loaded for the next morning.
Correct.
Okay.
Up until as late as 10.
And how many
And then they'll load
employees?
the trucks up, whether they're inside the building. See, this is a drive-through area, so a lot of the loading will be happening inside the building. The only thing that's out here is just staging for loading that will be put out most likely during the day for the next day order, and then they just lift them up on the trucks. They're typically flatbeds.
Do you know
Do they
approximately how
get
many
their delivery
employees?
of products?
So the delivery of products go out from 6:30 to 8, and they deliver all over the state.
Now, when do they?
When do they get their supply?
Oh, during the day. I mean, that's
Okay,
that's
so-
my understanding.
So it's
They
8 to
bring in-
10 trucks a day that they'll send out, but then at the same time, I'm hearing that they're going to be bringing other trucks in, filling it up, so that's,
No, the trucks will be back from 3 to 5 o'clock in the afternoon. They'll be on site after dropping off the product.
How many trucks do you anticipate that bring in your product? Where's your product
8
coming
to
in?
10 trucks a day.
8 to 10 trucks a day are bringing your product to
8 to 10 trucks a day are bringing new product in.
bringing new product in?
Resupply.
How many go out?
Right.
And then how many trucks are leaving, are being loaded and leaving to deliver all over the state?
Separate from the 8 to 10.
Right.
Okay.
And what kind of trucks would those be?
They're saying there's going to be about 10 trucks a day. They're saying, let's see here, how many truck traffic? The truck traffic is 8 to 10 per day.
I guess the big
Inbound
issue
and outbound.
is
what they're
I guess our concern, at least what I'm hearing, is the truck size. We don't want, if you have 10 or more semi-trucks that are in that area, which is already confined anyway, and it's going to be a traffic issue, how are you guys going to address that? We have school buses. I mean, that's high traffic time for our city. So truck size is very important.
And it's a very narrow road.
Yes, very, very narrow. So
Very
you're going to
narrow.
have to stop traffic to pull semi-trailers out.
But that was a steel plant.
I'm sorry, sir?
It was a steel plant
Edge cut
with
metals.
big steel coming in. I was thinking there might have even been a railroad siding.
Well, I mean, that was going to be one of my questions, but it doesn't sound like that the rail spur will be used.
Not anytime soon. It's an amenity for the future, but they have a lot, I mean, it's a nicety, but there's no commitment. It's about $1 million. So It's $900 to $1 million to put that in. I don't know the payback on that, and I don't think they know one either, so. They dropped it. But it is capable. We did speak to the rail line about it. It's functional, able to do it. It's just no one's got a plan to do it.
So do you know, back to my question, are there going to be semi-trucks that are going to be loading up and trying to exit the facility during that time frame?
They will be leaving from 6:30 to 8 o'clock, will be outbound.
Semi-trucks.
They are flatbeds. I guess you could call, they're not box trucks, they're semi-trucks.
Okay, I was just trying to clarify. Earlier you said there were box trucks and some
Well,
regular
coming in
trucks.
to pick up during the day, there's about 10 trucks a day that will come in to pick up smaller orders.
I just heard box
Just a
trucks
shuttle.
initially. I didn't hear anything
Yeah,
about
they are
semis.
not semis. These are smaller vehicles just to do small pickups during the day to fulfill orders that they don't have at the store, or they're trying to come and replenish.
But I
And they'll
don't,
go again all over the state during that time.
but I don't think our question has been answered of how many semis or how many trucks that will be delivering products. We hear 8 to 10 leaving, but I don't think we've heard, or have we?
Clear.
It's not clear.
And you're asking me a specific question, if I could make a phone call, if someone else has something to speak about, I can get an answer to that. I've got to get a hold of my contact who's
You can
available.
come back to that after.
Like I said, during that time frame, it's just a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
And trucks that size, like I said, trying to come out. I get that this was something years ago, but our city has grown tremendously
it has.
since that time. So we just want to.
The other
making a good decision for the
consideration, in
city.
addition to the traffic, is the train traffic through there, which also creates
Oh, yeah, the backup.
Huge backup, especially during that time period.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. I
I
called.
mean, that's probably the worst possible time on both ends
Yeah.
to do your business and for our citizens to make it to and from home and into work. So
We're sympathetic to that, but we are talking, if you look at the movements, the Incrediplex facility have an average of 1,000 cars coming in and out a day.
That's cars compared to semis.
Well, I understand, but they're still blocking traffic to make the turn. And most of ours are going to be right out turns or left in, but we're talking 8 to 10 trucks. You're going to take most of those right out, and then the rest of them could be a smattering during the day. And a lot of times it's just quiet there anyway. There's going to be a lot of quiet time.
and we're just trying to understand, that's all.
Sure. I'll get you an answer. I'm
sorry.
Call them.
I apologize.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
The other part about the former facility there, it was operational for many years before the new plastics warehouse went in. So I don't know if there's been any kind of traffic density review of Sunnyside since that new project's gone in there or not.
Well, I'm going to throw out another concern, and that's why I was asking about the fence. This does back up to a protected area, a housing addition. There's nothing, you've got all this lumber stacked 16 feet tall. What about these children? They wonder, and they go over there. I guess
Oh, are you concerned that we need to secure that for the people?
I don't know. I'm just throwing
We're
out my
open to doing
concern.
that. I mean,
That would be a
we'd
huge
open to
concern.
fencing it.
I mean, because obviously you can't control how many kids are going to run around, and the first thing they're going to see is something they can climb on.
Sure.
So.
Well, I was curious too, if there was going to be some sort of covering. I know there's certain type of wood that would be in the building and other wood is okay to be outside, but it is uncovered, it's just out there, right? So,
Yeah, I mean, if you're saying people could go out there and get onto the property at night, I'll bring that up to them. So we'll work to
You asking
resolve
about the
that.
wood covered?
There's no representative here from U.S. Lumber?
No,
about some
but I can
covering,
get
because
them on
somebody
the
can still
phone.
get in there and get on top of it.
Right, that's where it's.
I'm going to present it to the board. It sounds like Maria's kind of right. We don't have a lot of, we have a lot of questions that are unanswered. Maybe we should continue this to next month, but I'm just throwing it out there because to get them on the phone, I think we need someone here in person to talk to. I don't know the feeling of the board.
And I'm a little confused even about the zoning. This board approved that property as a recreational facility.
Correct.
It hasn't changed title. So why isn't it presently zoned as a recreational facility, not a lumber distribution facility? Which I don't see in the request.
Renee, do you know, or
In
Dan, do you know?
2004 or something, we approved this as a recreational facility. And when we talk about traffic, we approved a parking or a car blister out on Sunnyside Road. They never built it, the present owners, until Meyer Plastic came in. So that's 17 years or something. Isn't that right, Becky?
Yes.
Didn't we always hammer them on they never had the little parking, the blister on
Yes, yes,
Sunnyside that we
yes,
ask and
yes,
ask and
yes.
ask, and
That is correct.
And last year, I believe.
it just came in, but for 17 years, we'd required it. Yeah, I'm not a zoning lawyer, but I think this thing is zoned recreation by a variance with the
It's got a
same
variance, no,
It's currently zoned I-2, and it has had a variance to operate as a recreational facility.
Yeah.
It's in your staff report.
Yeah, no.
In there.
So
yeah, here it is.
with the same owner, why isn't it, don't we need a variance to move it back to distribution? Or does the
That's what we're here
variance
for today.
just, it's
Is to
not
ask
in the
to use it as a
point?
lumber. The I-2 zoning allows it to be used for this. They're just asking for variances to have the 16-foot fence and to have the, so they don't have to, you don't have to have a variance to take it back to its original zoning. The variance
Renee,
just allow.
Renee,
Renee,
I'm
Yes,
prepared.
sir.
I'm prepared to address the group anytime anyone would like.
okay,
Please.
So this has not come about lightly to Sri or me. We've spent a lot of time on this project. We looked at the traffic count compared to the traffic count that occurred when it was in Crediplex. And while there are a few trucks a day, it's nothing like the thousands of vehicles pulling in and out all day long. We looked at the economic impact of 50 new jobs, getting this back on the tax rolls. It was designed, set up, and originally zoned for an industrial facility, which this use fully meets. I was specifically concerned that this project needed to meet and protect the architectural standards of both the storage unit across the street that we imposed the fencing and the gated appearance in the front, and of Myers Plastics investment because Ralph has spent a lot of money. Another thing I looked at is this site has been ripe all around it with environmental issues, and the use that's being proposed has absolutely no threat to the surrounding area to additional environmental considerations. Actually, with the zoning, we could allow a manufacturing plant or something else that could be far worse than this almost benign use that's being proposed for this facility. It was my insistence with Sri's backing that the fences got created to the height and to the impermeability in terms of vision that are there. We insisted on the landscaping in the front to be sure that we protected the residents and the community in terms of its appearance. The one thing I was not clear on, Tom, it was my assumption and understanding that you were taking the slatted fence that you couldn't see through back to the edge of the Myers, but you were fencing the rear of the property. I can't imagine, both for your sake, with people trespassing, coming in across the rail to paint graffiti on your building or cause vandalism, or let alone the neighbors worried about their kids having reason to be motivated to come over across the tracks. I think I would want to insist that there be at least an 8-foot-high security fence around the back of the property. And that was my understanding, and I must misinterpret it, and I apologize for that. But when you look at the use of this facility, its original intentions, how it ties into the industrial area, and the changes that this group has agreed to per our request as a city, both Sri and I, of engineering and economic development, and we look at the impact that it's going to have on both jobs and the tax rolls, and I believe the almost negligible impact to any of the surrounding area, we believe this project ought to be approved, subject to the whole thing being secured. I'm not in favor of the back area being unfenced. But that's my two cents worth. But I will tell you, we spent over a month looking at this to be sure the boxes were checked, and that this wasn't going to be something from the road that was an eyesore or going to be a negative noise or traffic impact to the community. That we feel that the positives far outweigh the negatives. So that's my 2 cents worth to the board.
This is Sri. I just wanted to chime in on that too, Renee, if that's okay.
Yes, please, go ahead, Sri.
So yeah, like Dan said, we looked at this in detail about the traffic scenarios that the board was mentioning about. 8 to 10 trucks a day between a 2-hour window. It's very normal on a major thoroughfare like Oakland to have facilities like that brings 8 to 10 trucks a day within a 2-hour window. It's not unusual on thoroughfares. And compared to what the traffic they had in Incrediplex on certain days and certain time frames, it's going to be a much lesser impact on an engineering and a traffic standpoint. And I do have to agree with Dan that my understanding was the fence was going all along through the back side of the property, securing the whole property. That was my understanding as well. And I do want to see that kind of fencing just so because of the neighborhoods on the other side of the railroad track, and kids have an opportunity to just sneak in and hide or whatever. It's very important that we secure the overall property. So that's my 2 cents too.
Thank you.
And I do have answers now on the trucks.
Okay.
So there are, between 6:30 and 8, there'll be 5 trucks leaving the facility, which would be a right-hand turn most likely out of the facility. From 7 to noon, there'll either be a semi or a flatbed truck bringing in product. There'll be roughly 5 trucks doing that. During the day, at any time during the day, then that's where you might see a smattering of, pickup trucks or small box trucks that will pick up small orders from the facility. But it could be any time, 9 or, so we're talking 5 to 10 trucks. They're saying about 5 trucks will be leaving until 8 o'clock, and they'll probably be going right out. And then there'll be about 4 or 5 trucks coming in north and taking a left between 7 and noon. So we're talking 10 trucks. So from a traffic study perspective, there'll be plenty of time for those 10 trucks to wait for traffic, and we would coach, the occupants as to what they need to do to work with the community and making sure that, the 5 to 10 trucks in that morning hour are monitored to make sure they don't disrupt traffic. But most of them in the morning when the buses will be coming will be a right turn out, not crossing traffic. So it'll be a pretty safe exit from the facility. So that is the answers that you were looking for.
Well, the 3 o'clock is about the time school buses go by too, so
Well,
that's,
in the afternoon, it would be, there could be 3, 4, 5.
as,
They would be waiting in traffic just like anybody. There wouldn't be, 100 or 50, it would be less. It would, the stacking time would be much less than what a Creditplex used to be, so significantly.
I mean, I understand, you have thousands of cars going out for Incrediplex. I get that, and we're going to have a limited number of semis.
Sure.
I understand that, the feel of that, okay? But as what Dan and Sri said, there was a mention of an 8-foot fence around the rest of the property. Is that commitment going to happen?
Oh, we can do that. We're here to work with you. If that's what you're asking us to do, we can do that. That's a very reasonable request.
We would, the board would approve this with the addition of that 100% of the property being secured with a fence, and that would be recorded in the approval, so they wouldn't have any option to that.
So we could do just a regular chain link. It doesn't need to be black vinyl. Was that
That's
correct?
correct.
Just,
Around the back. Around the back, that's correct.
yeah, it's not from an appearance. It's more from a security perspective. Or you're not wanting barbed wire or anything on top of that?
I just want to, I
You give us
wanted it
direction.
so that children or whoever could not get in there possibly. So that's my concern, just my concern.
I mean, that's something we'll let them know that needs to be done, and I don't see any problem. That would not stand in the way. I think they'd love to cooperate.
Our approval would record that, and they would be subject to doing that before they could occupy the building.
Great.
Okay, let's see, what else? Need to call for remonstrators.
I can't tell the group, though I can't insist enough from an economic development standpoint, how critical it is to get this back on the rolls. And we're still dealing with environmental issues around the sides of these properties in terms of restrictions and covenants from when Myers agreed to build their facility, basically because of property behind it and things that were emitted decades ago. This project being so clean, having the economic development impact, having the minimal traffic impact, getting it secured, having the wage level that it does, and the minimal noise implications of a manufacturing facility in an I-2 zoning, I think it's the perfect project. So I'll leave it to the board to decide, but we're not taking this lightly, and I love this community like it's my own. So please don't think we didn't put some effort in this.
I have one more question.
I have a question, go ahead.
You said earlier on in your presentation that you guys look to expand. So we're talking about X amount of trucks now, your long-term goal, and what are we looking at down the road as far as you build out and have more trucks and more traffic? Because as our city grows, we put more housing in, we're also going to have more traffic. What's your response to that?
And I don't have a forecast for that, but this facility, the amount of traffic they have going out now should be, it's an expansion to what they're doing currently. So this is from what I'm understanding, it may grow 2 or 3 trucks, going out in the morning, and maybe 2 or 3 trucks coming in, if that's a 30% expansion to what they'll have now. This is a wholesale operation. It's not retail to the customer, so it's driven more on a regulated basis. There's nobody going to be coming here to buy it. They don't sell to the consumer. We're not asking that.
I can add a little bit to that on an engineering side. So anytime they do an expansion, they would have to come to us for approval anyways. And at that time, we usually look at what kind of expansion it is, and we can require them to, put more and add a signal or do some kind of traffic, depending on what expansion is and how much traffic is going to generate based on that, we can, as a city, we can require them to do certain things to alleviate minimal disruption on the major thoroughfare. So it's not unusual. It's just like you put a strip mall in, and when they start expanding, we require them to put a signal or add an axle diesel line, stuff like that. So that is very common when expansions happen and when they come to the city for approval.
Yeah, after we go through the construction, and that's
Correct.
what we are. If they come back for another permit, then I think, yeah, that's a very reasonable request.
I don't expect that to happen now, but eventually when they start developing more, expanding the operations, bringing in more traffic, yeah, that would be looked at that time.
One other thing that's critical to this project for everybody to understand is the biggest impediment right now to economic development in the city of Lawrence is a lack of water and sewer capacity. And Sri and I look at every project to be sure that the economic value is there, but the impact to the community, particularly residential community, does not have a negative stormwater impact through development, nor does it have a heavy sewer or water impact that would impede future growth to the city in terms of residential use. One of the beauties about this project is there will be no more stormwater because it's already permitted and built. The second beauty to it is they're not going to use any water to any degree other than a few bathrooms in their processes. So we don't have any negative sewer impact, which is really rare for a nice economic development project. It's just another reason that we really like this project.
What about safety in terms of emergency management? I mean, when you say a lumber yard, I go worst case scenario. I'm thinking, it only takes a spark. I mean, I know we're considering putting the fence in the backyard or around the back to secure the property, but to secure the product, if it starts to flame.
I can answer that for you. So the gates would have to have a Knox box lock on it that the fire department and police department would have access to. It's a code they'll put in, or a key that they can use to unlock it that's universal just to the city of Lawrence. It's called a Knox box. It mounts to the gate. Our fire department has that Knox box key and can get in.
And in addition to that, they're spending well over $1 million upgrading and improving the code safety features. It's going to have a whole new sprinkler system.
I was going to say that next.
For the
ESFR.
Or outside too?
Inside.
Inside.
The outside will be separate, pretty far apart, so if there's a fire, hopefully it'll be easy to contain. The product isn't touching each other. It's, as you saw,
Seen a lumber yard burn, it's not pretty.
No, and yes, I understand what you're saying, but we're going above and beyond what we believe. I've talked to the fire marshal, and but we're going to put a whole new sprinkler system in the facility. It's called ESFR, and so we're working with everybody to make sure we're on board with that, but it's going to be totally upgraded to the new codes.
Okay. You mentioned the 50 jobs earlier, which is very important too. Can you speak to more to like the positions and what those wages are? I mean, do you know?
I do not have the wages on that. That's a good question too, but.
I have two questions, one for you and one for the city. One, we talked about trucks and everything like that, but then I think I heard 50 employees from someone, I think.
That was me.
Okay,
They said they're going to have 50 employees on site.
15 or 50?
55.
Okay, where would there be parking for the employee?
Hold on, I'll put it back up.
Where would the parking be?
Up around the office building, which is that small section, there'll be car parking there for the employees. And there's car parking currently where NeuroHope is. That will remain car parking.
So the front part where,
Well, I'm putting it back up.
where you drove in, you had the covering.
Right,
So that's, if you're looking at the covering, to the right side is going to be your employee parking.
correct.
Okay.
Yes, that's really not going to change, other than there's going to be a door that used to be there that's going to be reopened.
Okay.
Okay, that answers that
It
question.
won't be in the way of the trucks going through the building. Yeah, right there. You see where it says, and then there's one more door going to be reopened that's on the south side in the corner, kind of where the rail used to come through the building. They're going to reopen a door there, so there'll be a third door.
Okay,
And when they come to expand, and talk to you about the traffic, it would probably be on the north side of the building when they put a solid, fill the grass with an area where they can load the product. So they're going to have to come back to you for that. And it will be, there's outside lighting, so the property's lit today and will continue to be lit and monitored. They're going to
There
have,
be more lighting or less lighting?
they have lighting currently all over the property. So it'll be similar lighting to what they have now. It's the same poles, IPL owns the lights, just keeping them going.
Now, the question for the city, it has to do with Sunnyside Road. We all know, I've traveled it quite a bit. My question to the city is, who's going, with all the heavy trucks coming in, they don't necessarily make roads smooth. Their issues are, they can destroy streets. Whose responsibility will it be to keep those streets up?
So Sunnyside is a thoroughfare, which means it is built for handling truck traffic. So it's a major street, just like Post Road and 56th Street. It is designed and built for truck traffic. It can take as many trucks as Post Road and 56th Street can take.
Okay.
And it's a thoroughfare. It's actually under Indy's jurisdiction, but we still are responsible for maintaining Sunnyside, just like we maintain 56th Street. We are responsible for patching, crack sealing, all that stuff, snow plowing, all that stuff. So I'm not really concerned about Sunnyside being torn up because of the 10 additional trucks that's going to travel a day. It's already getting a lot of truck traffic, just like any other streets.
Okay, thank you. Does the board have any other questions at this time for the petitioner? Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Now we'll hear from those remonstrators, for or against the petition. Please step up to the mic, state your name and address, and hello.
Hey, Brent Addington. My address is 6170 Sunnyside Road. So one of the charts, I was just north across the railroad tracks is my property. I'll just start with a general opinion. One thing that I have a problem with Lawrence is the amount of light pollution. I can go out and mow my yard at night, no problem at all. So that's just my general opinion. The request that I'd like to make is to add a stipulation to this. In the wintertime, I have no leaves on trees, obviously, but the security lights are shining onto my property. And this has been one of those things that it's been a pet peeve with Incrediplex that I've put up with. And now that we have a change coming up, I thought I'd ask that the security lights at least have a shield so that the security lights stay on their property. And if they're putting up new lights, have them pointing towards their property, not towards mine. So that's my request. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else here for or against the petition? The Honorable Rick Wells.
Thank you. I am Rick Wells, councilman for District 2. And the president made it here. So I think I was trying to relay, I was trying to read all my text messages from all the different council people. But this, and I'm sure Lisa will attest to this, really caught us by surprise. I think a lot of us, including myself, got very comfortable and used to when Renee would send us these messages and notices of these events, and for some reason we no longer get them. So we need to go, I guess, the extra mile and look it up like everybody else and look it up on Facebook. But just got used to, you know, the notices. My understanding, the counselor for this district, Sharon Freeman, I was told via text message that Sharon did not get notice of this. And so pretty much everybody on the council, this thing got caught by surprise. So I think that's why Maria was asking for the continuance, and I think, that would be wonderful for the councilors to weigh in on it. Some of the concerns that I myself, just by listening to it, the conversation, is we currently have a major bus garage for Lawrence Township Schools being built just about maybe a mile south maybe. These deliveries are going to be made just about the same time that those buses are going to be running. And there's like, 300, 400 buses, I think, in that garage facility. And I'm sure a lot of them are going to be making their way up and down Pendleton Pike and on the Sunnyside. Has there been a traffic study done? Has there been any contact done with the school system to know just how much that's going to interfere with the school buses? Because it definitely is in the same time parameter. Another question I was asked by a counselor was this meeting, I see it's on Zoom, but was it made public to Zoom? You know that?
No, it wasn't made public to Zoom because the public meeting is here.
Okay, that was just one of the questions, and I understand. And if the question was answered, I possibly didn't hear it. But this operation is not going to happen during the weekend. I guess this will just be a Monday through Friday thing. And something that I do find puzzling, the gentleman said that these trucks are going to be like small box trucks, delivery trucks. And that's a lot of product being stashed, on this facility. Somewhere along the way, there's got to be some big semi trucks. He did say flatbed trucks, but I don't think that the word, semi truck, 18-wheeler, I don't think was something that they wanted to, come out and say. But you're almost going to have big trucks to put this much product, in a facility this big. And it was also mentioned, that this was a steel plant. Back in the day, and and I had hair back in the day, and there was and that was back in the day, because back when that steel plant was there, I remember it well. There wasn't anything on Sunnyside from the railroad tracks to Pendleton Pike. The steel plant was it. That was the only thing that was on Sunnyside at that time. So it's just a concern for the traffic, I would, once again ask that this thing be continued long enough for the counselors to follow up with their constituents and for us to do our homework on it, because we're all just like you guys. I think this is your first meeting back in a group, and ours was a week ago Monday, our first one. So I think we're all kind of getting our feet wet again, back into the swing of a little bit of normalcy, if you will. So that's all I have, but thank you for your time.
Rick, I did want to answer your question. They did say the hours of operation are from 6:30 in the morning to 5, and there were going to be anywhere from 8 to 10 semis, whether it be box or flatbed.
6:30, yeah.
Am I correct, Board? Isn't that what everyone heard? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I think it was the box truck, and then
Yeah.
semis were added on to that number.
The
after
box
he made his phone call.
The box truck are the 50 will calls that would come during the week.
Okay.
He said about 10 a day. That's
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, like I said, sooner or later, there's got to be a pretty good sized truck that's got to be coming in there, I would think.
Oh, we agree.
Yeah.
I mean, that was my whole point, is when those trucks start to move out into Sunnyside was kind of my big issue. Are they going to be able to make a turn without going into
that's what-
oncoming traffic
See,
in order
that's
to get
what,
that turned in? And that's what my big concern was during that
Yeah.
time of day. Is it going to disrupt the flow to the point it's going to stop traffic on both sides just to get a semi out?
Right, even on a right-hand turn. that's
Exactly,
still-
exactly.
Well, you're exactly right, because I mean, I don't have a semi truck, but I do have a 38-foot trailer, just a trailer. And yeah, I mean, you got to swing way wide, and that's only a 2-lane road. I don't know how a semi truck would do it. I mean, and in the neighborhood I live in, we have an industrial park. We have to put guardrails on our corners of our property just to keep the semi trucks from coming through our properties, because And really, I feel sorry for them because I've seen those truck drivers, you know, they struggle in the old, it's in the old Samuel Records area, and it's really not their fault. I mean, they're going by their Garmin or their GPS or whatever. A lot of them have never been in that neighborhood, and they don't have any idea what they're getting into until they're already there. And then they find out that, oh, I can't make that turn. So
We're not trying to stop them from that. I mean, if there's things that they can do, if they can come in more so into the property, so when the trucks turn, they're not, one, digging into the ground, like you were saying on that end when you run out of asphalt, and two, when they make the turn, they have enough space on their property to make the turn without coming into ongoing traffic. I think that would help.
yeah. Well, thank you.
Thank you. In the Honorable Lisa Chevis.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Lisa Chavis, President of the City of Lawrence Council. I would request that this be tabled. I think that the fact that the owner of the company or the company itself is not represented here, a lot of the information, and I've listened to this from the moment it started driving in my car on the way here, seems to be not real concrete. I mean, I don't know how you can mention numbers of trucks without, and say they're small, or they're semi, or they're box, or whatever. I think it's important for us to know specifically the size of the trucks, the quantity of trucks. There's a lot of generalizations being made. And I don't know how a sound decision can be made when they're generalizations and not specifics. Second of all, it seems as though, and Mr. Zerner, I know you're there, and you know that I'm a big proponent of economic development. So I am not here stating that this may not be a good business for the city. It might be. But I think that, you know, the considerations that have to be made here tonight, the information is very loose, to just put it very mildly. It seems as though the administration has done a great deal of due diligence and homework, and they've presented their case very well, but they're not the owner. They're not the ones that can make the commitments on behalf of the company, and they do not know the day-to-day operations of the company. I think it's important for us to know that before, you know, you as a board can come to a decision. This could potentially have a huge impact on our community if we don't think it through. We not only have school buses, we have people that commute to work. Sunnyside is a major thoroughfare from people east coming to Pendleton Pike to head downtown and points west. So I would appreciate it. It would have been great if someone was here to give us all this information, but they're not. And I think it's important that they are here. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Lisa, before you go, and Renee, Rick said the council didn't receive notice of this meeting?
I believe I received it at 10:30 this morning. So, and I was working today, so I didn't, you know, I really didn't get to look at it till later this afternoon. And then there was more questions and answers, and, you know, just because of my work day, I wasn't able to like pick up the phone and make calls or anything like that. So this is really my first opportunity, you know, coming here tonight right after work. So, or else I would have contacted Mr. Zerner myself, even though I don't think it's not his job to sell it, it's theirs. But thank you all.
And that's a lot different than under 2 months ago. Our previous procedures, you would have notice in the booklets
Yes.
well ahead of time.
Yes. And we would, you know, ask questions if we had or concerns. So that's really the concern here. I don't think it's anything that, you know, necessarily can or can't be overcome. It's just, I think the information would be great. So thank you all.
I think it also gives them an opportunity to get everything together, like she said. I think I have no problem with it.
The board can make a motion. We have a second. We can continue it. This is up to the board. So if anyone wants to, we can either continue it or move forward.
I'd like to hear from the petitioner what the delay means to them. Why, is there urgency or not urgency?
This is something that's been in the works for a while, and US Lumber's trying to make some decisions quickly. We've been working on it for quite some time and talking to Dan about it, but we've got to a point where they're ready to make this happen. So they're trying to make plans. We've got 90 to 100 and some days of construction, and then they would start the move-in process and setup within the building. So we still have to go through the permitting process and the construction, and they would like to get in this summer, and we're already stretched to do that. So we've been working with construction, and now we're at a point where we wanted to go ahead and work through the variance request. That's, now we're pushing it later into the fall, and that's, from a business perspective, not ideal. I mean, they're trying to put this together sooner than later. And I appreciate the questions about the trucks and the semi-trucks. I will tell you, they're regular 53-footers. There will be flatbeds that you see, a lot of them that may have, moffats on the back of them, the typical building materials, so they can offload them to wherever they're delivering them to. Different days may have different types of trucks, so I'm not sure you're going to be able to get, we're giving you the in and outbound traffic count approximately. And then I was speaking with the operator of Incrediplex, who may want to speak to the normal traffic that they have 7 days a week. And from what he's sharing with me is they have semis in there similar to what we're talking about currently or have had. So we're only talking about adding 2 or 3 or 4 more trucks a week that, or maybe is it a day? Maybe it's a day, than what they've already had turned into the buildings, and maybe smaller because they have pickup trucks and smaller box. But the deliveries are made, and in the pictures you saw full semis, 53-footers with tractor trailers. They're in and out. They don't stay there. They're here to load, and then the flatbeds go out. So the semis will be coming in. I do believe that Sunnyside's a pretty darn good road. It's pretty big. And, but anyway, I did.
Do you think that month would, or the month that we would push it out to get more information? Because we're all here and we're representative of the community.
Yes.
So to make a decision without having all the information, it hurts. It hurts us. So it could be a great business, but at the same time, without being able to say and go to their constituency and say, this is a good thing, we looked into it for you, makes it a little harder. So I think that's why they're saying if we can postpone this 1 month to get everything squared away so we can get you in there and it be in the best interest of the city and for you, I think that's kind of where we are with it right now, in my opinion.
And they want to be a good corporate citizen.
Right, and it sounds like it. We just want to make sure we have all the information.
Not a heavy use type of build. You saw that a lot of it's just sitting there. I mean, there's very light traffic in and out of the facility. On the lighting, I think that's a very good point. IPL has a lighting program. They own the lights and the poles. So there's a discussion to put LED product, which is the flatter product, that they could put a shield on the back of them. So I think the benefit would be it would be changed.
But again, these are
Yeah,
commitments that we
we'll
need,
get them to commit. It's a phone
No,
call.
no.
Anyway,
We'll make them commit. No. They
Yeah,
need to
yeah.
be here. They should have been here tonight.
I understand.
I mean,
Yeah,
I do have an additional question. We've talked quite a bit about the day-to-day operations. Given the size of this facility with the additional storage outside, what will it take to load the product in there at the onset? Is it over the course of 5 days? I would imagine it's going to take quite a bit of semis
Sure.
to get all of that product in there.
and we'll work to get them here, but that's correct. You're going to have to load the facility up the way you see it and the number of trucks that would be loaded. So they may be bringing some product in to this location versus where they're doing it now until that's loaded, but I don't have the move-in schedule
Because I believe it's 177,000 square feet, is that correct?
Why, that I can't tell you.
Yeah, it's 100, but it's
Oh, yeah, 177.
7, but it's about 150. The offices in the
Operational
front
costs,
are
yeah.
not part of
I
it.
included the office too.
So I respect whatever you guys decide tonight. We're not here to push it down your schedule that you had to do it, but that's the request I've been charged with, so.
Yeah,
would appreciate
I think we have to extend it to the next meeting.
Making a motion.
Are you making a
In making
motion?
that motion that.
Is there a second?
and hopefully representative from the owner will be there and give our council time to talk to their constituents. But I do want to make the point that I don't think one council request, we can delay hearings, but when it's the whole council and the president of the council comes, I think it makes a difference. But not having ownership, I think, really affects us. For me, it would help if Dan was, I had a little trouble understanding him on the screen. It would be good. He obviously feels strongly about this project. We feel strongly about economic development. But to have him look us in the eye and say how important it is, just like having the operators here, makes our decision easier.
So I hear that Tom made a second and Tom made the motion and Eugene made the second.
Correct.
Okay, all those in favor for continuing it to next meeting signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? We have continued it to the next board meeting, which is July
20th,
20th.
6 PM right here.
Thank you very much, everyone showing up, and if the owner or the U.S. Lumber can be present, that'd be wonderful. Now, Renee, you need...
Adjourned.
No, we were going to talk about,
We can do that after the resolution,
it doesn't have to be on record.
because it'll be presented and talked about in a meeting.
Okay. The Lawrence Board of Zoning Appeals is adjourned at this time.